Continuing on from the last video, we're now looking at 2 and 3. So we already looked at how to put in the calculator. We also figure out how to make the equation that we just have right here. And again, those came from this paper here. Now we're going to number 3. And number 3 says to plot the function on the graph with the data and determine how well the graph fits the data. So here, we're going to talk about going to it and everything. So here, we're going to come here. We're going to hit this part. So we're going to hit y equals. And if you did the vars, this part here, down, 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 vars, right like that, your equation is right here. If you did not do it, you have no equation. So that means, guess what? You got to come back up here and do this all over again and make sure that equation is there. Because this next part, you're not going to be able to do. And again, if that next part's not, if that that part's not there, you can't do the rest of this problem. You can't do anything else with this problem. So go back and do it. At this point, once we do this, we hit y equals. It says we're going to hit the right up arrow, hit enter, and then we come down. So plot 1 should be highlighted. And here is plot 1 highlighted? Yes, it is. So plot 1 is highlighted. All right, now to be able to figure out what's going on with the graph, we're going to hit zoom 9. And again, that's what we have right here, zoom 9. So your graph should look something like this. All right, and it says pretty much determine how well the data fits the graph fits the data. So if we're looking at it here, it kind of goes with the data. It doesn't like it's the best one that we can have, because if it was the best, it would go through some of the points. It might not go through all the points, but it'll at least go through some of the points. It kind of hits this part right here, and it kind of hits that one right there, but it's not necessarily the best one. So with that, we won't write anything down here, but we just say, okay, it's not necessarily the best one, but it's a good model. It's an okay model. Okay, so that's number 3. So we plotted it and we looked at the graph. And the last thing is now use the model to predict the cumulative number of AIDS cases for the year 2006. All right, so that means whenever we predict something, we're determining the future data. So whenever they say to predict or figure out what's going to happen like in the future or a date that's past this date right here, that means you're looking for the future. So for number 4, we're going to do this part here. But before we do this, we have to remember that the answers that we put in here for this part were not 2000 and 2001 or 1999 or anything of that sort. They were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth, because of what they said right here. So what we have to figure out is if 1998 is 0, 2006 would be what number? And if you need help on that, if 99 was 1, 2000 was 2, 2001 is 3, 2002 is 4, 2003 is 5, 2006 would be what number? 8. So when we do this part here, we're going to do the second quit, go to the vars. We're going to go to the right. So make sure you do this part here. That's what that caret's here. So for those that are English, you should remember that caret button means that you're going to include that was left off. So we're including the right, 1, 1, parenthesis, then put 8 in the middle, and then close parenthesis. So let's do that. So second quit, so second mode, second, and then the word quits right there. So hit mode. We go to vars, go to the right, and we hit 1, 1, a parenthesis, the number 8, close parenthesis. Then we hit enter. Enter. And we get this number. And we're going to write that down. And again, let's round it 2 decimal places. And now the last part is, it's a number. And this is not just some random number that we find and that's it. This is actually something very important and very detrimental to people's lives. It's a real life situation. So if it's a real life situation, it's not just a number. So we need to write a sentence that explains what this number means. So we must write a sentence. You must write a sentence. So here, we're talking about AIDS cases in the United States, right? So we're talking about also the year 2006. So when we write our sentence, it must have something to do with 2006, AIDS, and United States. So let's write a sentence something like this. And also, I'm going to round this to a whole number simply because you can't have a 0.49 of a person or a 0.5 of a person. You can only have a whole number. So I'm going to round this to this number here. I'm going to round it down. And so here, we're going to say there were 51,347 AIDS cases in the year 2006. Now, as a bonus type thing, on a separate sheet of paper, like where you're going to do your practice problems, what I want you to do at this point is go online and find out what was the actual number of AIDS cases in 2006 and write that in a sentence form on the practice paper as your number one, or just as the first thing you write on your paper after practice, after the word practice. So that'll be that first thing that you're going to do. Go search for it and going to write down a sentence answer for that and see if that actually matches up with what we wrote here. And because sometimes the numbers might change, it might get drastic, it might go down, it might be perfect, it might be exactly what's going on. It depends on what's going on. So the numbers might be exact here, it might be off by a lot, it might be off by a little bit, but you'll be able to find out. So check it out on Google. Google it out and figure that out. And then we'll go to the actual practice.